Right. So again, it's already 2:30. So there might be chance that will be extended a little bit because our again this lesson will be a little bit long. So if you're feeling sleepy, go on, try to do whatever it is that will keep you alive. But anyway, today's lesson will be a little bit long. So for us not to go on, not to do another meeting again, we're just going to finish it today. So I'm hoping you guys are okay. This will be extended for a little bit. Okay. Late na kita na. Anyway, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to another online class. This is ITS 300 Web Development 1, and today's topic will be talking about the web development lifecycle. So if you have any questions or clarifications regarding today's lesson, please save it at the end of the class, or you can share it with our Facebook chat group.
Excuse me, sir.
Go ahead.
Ang Excuse me, sir.
Go ahead, Mato.
Ang imong kuan, sir, ba audio quality di kay na ako madunggan.
Di jud sir, putol
Yes, sir,
putol ka
di kay
sir.
maklaro.
Alright. I think I'm having problem with kaniya
Delay pod sir.
But if it's kuan good, basta jud kayo ang quality, please let me know, okay? I think ililist na akong
Blurred po ka sir, gamay.
ay bahala na ng blur. Importante mo daw Importante mo daw.
Dili kay maklaro sir ba, maputol yung tingog kalit sir.
Ano ba?
Hinay, sir.
Fix mo na.
Hinay pod sir, hinay imong tingog.
I think because connected kong duha ka speaker. Wait, hold on. Let me turn off my Bluetooth real quick.
Oo sir, connected ko doon sir.
I
Ira
think
cellphone
may problema.
cellphone.
Ilom na gud aroy.
Hold on. Okay, so let's have a review before we proceed. Last time we discussed about the second part of our World Wide Web discussion. Particularly, we talked about the web browsers, domain name system or DNS servers, and web servers. So let's check whether or not we are ready for our next lesson. Let's try to check our previous assessment, if you don't mind. Hold on. Here. Okay, let's try to answer. So, first question. It processes any commands. Nawala. It processes any command. Ay, nawala. What's wrong with you, man? Okay. It processes any command made in the browser user interface. Reload. Hold on. Okay, right. The answer is browser internal engine. Okay, one again. Internal engine. Internal engine is responsible for taking any commands made in the browser user interface. So, for example, if you're going to click any links or any buttons in the browser UI, the internal engine will process and take the command. So next is we have it is the main international standards organization for the World Wide Web. Okay, W3C. So it is responsible. The W3C was formed. That is because of the browser war rather. That basically the browser war is happen because the browser companies tend to release features that other browsers doesn't have that causes lots of problems with regards to the web development. And then it is a temporary storage for any parts of a web content. Cache, right? So cache is the temporary storage for any parts of the web content. So for example, if we open up our Facebook, even if we're not connected to the internet, pero sometimes pag ma-open taga tong Facebook, naaragyapon itong mga previously content that we previously seen, that is because of the cache. Next, it is a browser component that translates HTML and CSS into visual elements in the computer screen. Rendering engine. Rendering is responsible for translating HTML and CSS. So, in the past, we learned that the web server will send the web content back to the client in HTML form, right? So, para dili HTML codes ang makita nato sa tong screen, the rendering engine translates those codes into an actual graphic so that we will see the content in our screen. It is the protocol that is used for sending and receiving web content. Sender. For text transfer protocol. So the moment that we enter, or the moment that we perform any web activities like entering URL, an HTTP request will be initiated, and the HTTP request or the HTTP responsible for like going to the DNS, diba, to get the IP address, locate the web server, and receiving the web content. And then it is the overall appearance of the browser. Anyone? Right, browser UI or the user interface. So everything that we see in our browser, so from the control buttons, the bookmarks, the URL box, and the entire screen, that is all part of the browser user interface. Then it is the server where the URL will be sent to look up for the domain name in case the IP address is not found in the local ISP DNS server. It's root names. So whenever every time that we're going to visit a website, the first thing that it's gonna do is it will check the local ISP DNS server to check if the IP address is naba dito ang IP address. But if wala dito sa atong local ISP, then it will go through our top level domain, and the first thing that it's going to do is the root name server will filter all the websites based on the root name. So for example, ni enter kag facebook.com, ang root name is Facebook. So the root name server will filter all the websites around the globe that starts with Facebook or that has Facebook no word on it. And then we'll proceed to the .com server to get the IP address. It is the most widely used web browser. And who can give us the exact percentage or the approximate percentage according to Wikipedia for the market share of Google Chrome? Since I'm a right answer. The approximate number of, or the approximate percentage. It's 60%. 60% of the web browser users around the globe uses Google Chrome. So that is the point. So these are small pieces of data, usually text files, that the server sends to the browser. Anyone? Kasi karong mga panahon, karong mga oras sa lamig ka cookies sa bukod. Anyway, what is the example of cookies? Examples of cookies daw. So web browsers, of course. website cookie. Go ahead, Arbulado. Diyo ka na kayo. Alright? So basically text files, diba? Whenever you're filling out any information or any field on a browser, on a website, and then if the website accepts or uses cookies, then it will save everything that you've typed in. Yung mga gina-type nimo, mga gina-fill out nimo, ma-save siya sa browser, diba? So that next time that you're going to use the same field again, di na ka kinalang mo type, di mo na lang i-click. Right? So that is example of cookie. So here, what are the components of a web server? So para madali ta, let me just give you the answer. The components of a web browser is, we have internal engine that is responsible for carrying out processes by commands in the browser UI. And then, of course, we have the browser UI, or browser user interface. That is the overall appearance of our browser. The networking components. So these are the components that is responsible for processing HTTP requests. And then we have JavaScript interpreter that is responsible for translating JavaScript. And then rendering engine it is responsible for translating HTML, CSS to actual graphics. Okay? And then lastly, we have data storage. That is where we're responsible for storing data like cache, cookies, so on and so forth in our browser. And then here, this is gonna so far dere daghang sayo. Okay? So just going to discuss it. Para madali ta, hold on. It's okay. In a way, you can watch the replay later on. But anyway, you can just watch the replay na lang. For those who cannot hear clearly because of the rain, you can watch the replay later on. But anyway, this part right here is the reason why our average score is very low. There is daghanan na itayo. So let's just discuss quickly. We're not going to thoroughly discuss this. What would be the exact sequence? So first is, let me open it up. So here, the first sequence is the client sends the URL to the local ISP DNS server. Kita lang. And then the second, okay, ang scenario na to is IP address is not present in both the local ISP and DNS server, okay? So meaning dili malocate ang IP address both the local ISP DNS and the top level domain na DNS. So the first scenario, the first activity is, of course, we're going to the client will send the request to the local ISP to get the IP address. But if the IP address is not found, the browser will check the local ISP for the IP address. Third is, if the IP address is not found in the local ISP, it will proceed to the top level domain, which is the root name. The root name server will communicate to the .com server to get the IP address. But if the IP is still not found, then it will return an error message saying DNS error. Okay? So far, diri ang daghang sayo. Naglibog mo, ane? Alright. So just a review. The first is, di ba? Una to sa client. Ang client mo send siya mo check siya IP address sa website dito sa local ISP, sa atong internet service provider like Globe, PLDT, so on and so forth. However, if wala dito ang IP address sa imong website, then it will proceed to the top level domain. The top level domain consists of the root name server and the .com server, di ba? So since there are maybe millions, hundreds of millions of websites around the globe, so lisod kayong pangitaon ang IP address. Sa button, ang root name server, iyang i-filter ang mga websites depending on the root name. So when you say root name, for example, enter ka o facebook.com, the root name would be Facebook, di ba? So the root name server will find all the websites na naay word na Facebook on it. So medyo mugamay na ang mga websites. Therefore, it would be easier for it to look for the IP address. and that is where the .com server will locate the IP address, or basically the .com server contains the IP address of that website. So, however, if ang IP address wala gyapon siya sa .com server, then it will return an error message to the client. Usually, it will say DNS error or website cannot be found, or something like that. Anyway, I'm a little sad. It's because the average is 14.86. So supposed to be the passing score is 15. But however, we're just going to round it up. We'll run it up since it's only a couple of, let's see, 14 points man, 0.14 na lang to pass. So we'll just consider it that this is a good lesson, so we will be ready for our next topic. And so far, do you have any questions regarding the World Wide Web? Regarding our World Wide Web lesson? Before we proceed, do you have any questions regarding that previous lesson, guys? Okay, I hope none something. No? Okay, I don't like to proceed any lesson if kamay nakasabot. But anyway, 14 out of 14.86 out of 20. Supposed to be dili unta siya, but we'll round it up to 15. Then we're ready. Okay, so today's topic we'll talk about web development lifecycle. So that includes the research, planning, designing, content writing, coding, testing, reviewing, and launching, and maintenance. So as you can see, this is a very long discussion. So again, whatever it is will keep you alive, and you may do it now. All right, so let's start with, hold on. Okay, so despite being a generally accepted belief, the core part of the web development is not necessarily just about coding. I'm not going to join, so let me accept them real quick. To produce a well-organized and successful website, there are a lot of processes and activities that needed to be done to achieve the purpose of end goals which the website is intended for, and set an assurance that with its adaptability to the new trends and updates. So although most of the time when we say web development, it will be about coding, di ba? Murag mo dyan na usually na tumahununaan ang web development is about coding. However, the web development is not just about coding. The web development, from the term suggests, development, there has to be a step-by-step procedure on how a website will be developed. From the moment, creating the reason why the website must be developed at the first place, until it will be released, or until it will be launched to the public usage. Diba? So we'll think about web development lifecycle in a way that a website will be developed by a team. Okay, so most of the time in the real world, a website will be developed not just by one person, but with a team. I mean, there might be people who will be responsible for, research, planning, designing, and there will be some people that will be assigned for coding and testing, so on and so forth. However, since we cannot do it now, diba? Since we are doing our online classes and we are learning from home, or we're studying from home, so we cannot do web development by team. So rather, we are going to understand the web development lifecycle as individually, because di man nato mahimo nga by team nato ang atong web designing or web development. It's because again, we are trying to do this classes online and from home, so we'll do it individually. Okay, so again, web development is not just about coding. It is more about the step-by-step procedure that needs to be followed. In that way, we'll be able to produce a high quality or top level quality in mga website. Because everybody, not just IT, not just ComSci, everybody can design a program. Can design a website, can develop a website. There are tons of easy ways out there in the internet that will allow us to create websites easily. Okay? However, learning the web development lifecycle will give us IT and ComSci an edge with the rest of the web developers out there, because we'll not the idea how the actual process of web development takes place. So let's start with the first stage. Okay, hold on. All right. By the way, here is the processes involved in the web development lifecycle, or WDLC. So the web development lifecycle is a methodological way of developing quality websites. So the web development lifecycle includes the following phases. We have research, planning, designing, content writing, coding, testing, reviewing, and launching, and lastly, maintenance. Now, the web development lifecycle topic is very broad. This topic is very broad, and it will take more than one day of class to discuss all of this. However, for today's lesson, we're just going to have the general idea or overview regarding web development lifecycle. That is because the web development lifecycle will be discussed to you in further details in your system analysis and design lesson. Do you have system analysis and design lesson or subject karong semester? Naamoy system analysis and design subject karong semester? Wala pa pisad. I think that will be next semester again. Anyway, on your one of your future subject in IT is the systems analysis and design, and basically it will be different processes involved in developing websites, programs, systems, etc. So WDLC will be one of those lessons that you're going to discuss. Anyway, to proceed, let's start with the um, first topic, first phase, which is researching. The first step in web development is understanding of the goals, type, purpose, and functionality of the website. So I guess that is the very first step in everything that we're going to do. Every professional activities or jobs or employment that we're going to do, usually the very first thing that needs to be done is researching. So researching is getting to know about the project, getting to know what would be the project is all about, so on and so forth. So the following are the points to consider in doing a research. What is the purpose of a website? What are the goals to achieve? Who are the target audiences? And what are the requirements or specifications being set? So these are the common points to consider when researching for the web development. Okay? So what is the purpose of a website? It is important to know what the website is mainly intended for and what does it represent. So for example, for travel blogs, online portfolio, company website, online shopping, etc. Okay, so that is the first thing that you're going to understand, or you're going to research what is the main purpose of the website. Second, what are the goals to achieve? It could be to share your personal travel experiences, to showcase your works, marketing your products and services, or selling your products online. That is the goal that you're going to achieve. And then, who are the target audiences? It is understanding which type of people will have a great impact with the web content. For example, travelers, offshore companies, or online shoppers. Yeah. What are the requirements for specifications being set? So these are additional requirements and specifications set by the client for the website. Example, website responsiveness, email services, preferred color palette, etc. Okay? So for example, we're going to create a website. For example, NORSU Bais asked us to develop a website for NORSU Bais. Right? So the very first thing that we're going to learn, the first thing that we're going to do is research, right? And we have to understand what is the purpose of the website. So again, NORSU Bais, the website. What is the purpose of NORSU Bais website? So the purpose of the NORSU Bais website is to give information to the public regarding the updates, the current event that is happening in NORSU Bais. Also, another purpose is to post announcements for the faculty and staff and the students, so that if there are any important mga announcements or any information that needs to be disseminated to the students and faculty and staff, then it will be easy for them to para ma-inform tayo right away, di ba? Especially right now that we are conducting our classes or work at home. Okay? Maybe another purpose is to to be able to communicate, or students and faculty and staff will be able to create an environment. The website is an environment in which the students, the faculty and staff can communicate with each other, just like social networking sites like Facebook, Instagram, etc. So that is the purpose of the website. Yeah? And then what are the goals to achieve? So again, in our example, NORSU website, the goals that needs to be achieved are the students will be well informed. Okay, the website can post announcement to the students and the faculty and staff for the important announcement or information or current events. The student and faculty and staff can communicate with each other within the website. So those are examples of some goals that can be achieved, diba? And then who are the target audiences? So first, students, the faculty and staff, and the general public. So that is the target audiences of the website. And what are the requirements or specifications being set? Okay, so the NORSU website should be capable of displaying properly for desktop computers, tablet computers, and smartphones. Diba? Those websites must be display siya dapat properly to different screen sizes like laptop, tablet, smartphones, etc. And then it must use the color, Azure blue and lily white. It must use the logo, NORSU logo. It must use the different pictures, NORSU. So what are the requirements or specifications being set? So that is part of the research stage or phase in the web development. Okay, do you have any questions so far with the research? Alright, so once you already have the necessary information needed for you to design the website, the next step is not to design the website. The next step is to plan how you are going to make the website look. Okay, so the second step in web development is to plan how the website is going to look and work as a whole. So once you already have all the necessary information that you need, it is time for you to plan how the entire website is going to work as a whole. Okay, so this includes arranging the navigation and organizing the structure of the website. So when we say navigation, diba, sa mga links that will allow you to move from one page to another. What are the pages that needs to be included in the website? Diba? So that is arranging the navigation and organizing the structure. Now, to achieve these, the first thing that you are going to prepare is a sitemap and a wireframe. So sitemap and wireframe are two tools, different tools for planning the structure of a website. Okay. So first is the sitemap. A sitemap is an organized URLs or hyperlinks of a website that are arranged relative to the website navigation. Sitemaps are used for web developers in order to have an overview on how the website is going to navigate from one content or link to another. Okay? So a sitemap is like, mura ba siya illustration on how the websites are going to connect together. So example here. So this is just an example website lang. So our website here, for example, Juleus Publico site. So under the website, we have three main pages. We have home, portfolio, and contact. So under the three main pages, we have here the content. Okay. So for the home, it contains a summary of the portfolio and contact. Diba? Here. Let me change my cursor real quick. Okay. Again, under home, the home is a summary of both the portfolio and contact, which is the other major link, right? And then for portfolio, we have graphic design, web design, photography, and the rest would be the remaining content necessary for each of these categories. Diba? And then contact information. So notice that all of them are connected depending on kung asa siya nabilong. Diba? For example, the home, portfolio, and contact are the three main pages of Juleus Publico site. And then portfolio have three different pages again, which is graphic design, web design, photography, and each page have their own different web content like logos, prints, logo gallery, print so on and so forth. All right? So that is a sitemap. So basically, by preparing a sitemap, you'll be able to design the web page, diba? I-design mo ng mga web pages, but using the sitemap, it would be easy for you to plan how each pages will be connected to each other. Nag-get ang idea sa sitemap? Up here, the first here would be the major link, and then the following would be the web content, which is appropriate for the major link. Alright, so that is sitemap. Next is a wireframe. A wireframe, also called a mock-up, is a visual representation of the website's user interface or the website's appearance at the point of user-computer interaction. This will allow the web developers and clients visualize the layout of the website. So it can be considered as the blueprint of a website. Do you know what blueprints are? Blueprints are? You know? Okay, blueprint. So, diba, blueprint contains the sketch on how, for example, blueprints a building, diba? It contains the sketch on the floor plan of the building. So, wireframes are also similar to that, but instead of buildings, it is for websites. So let me show you an example of a wireframe. So gaina, let's go about websites for NORSU Bais. So if I'll be asked to design a website for NORSU Bais, and of course based on the research that I'll be doing, so and this is the blueprint of the website. It's not called blueprint, but it is a wireframe. So basically, this is the blueprint of the website. So that is the second thing that you're going to prepare in planning. So you already have sitemap. So since you've already established how the website sites are going to navigate, then you're going to design. You're going to sketch, kumbaga. You're going to sketch the website, and that is through the use of a wireframe. So in this example, as you can see, there are no colors or any visual elements other than just the layout on where the elements will be located and how it will look. So there are two ways on how the website will appear depending if the viewer uses desktop or mobile or tablet, etc. So the first is we have here, so example lang ni, this is where the navigation bar will be located. The navigation bar will include NORSU Bais, and then a navigation link, and then a search icon field that will allow the users to easily locate any web content inside the website. And then we have, of course, the title of the website, and then instead of the background, yan ang mga pictures in NORSU Bais here, and then this part where the logo will be displayed, and then this part will be featured content, and then we have here the footer. Okay, the footer contains the social media links, the navigation links, so on and so forth. So this is how the website is going to look like if it's viewed in the browser. So this will look like if it's viewed on a mobile device. Diba? So that is a wireframe. Now, how to create a wireframe? So there are different ways in creating a wireframe, and sitemaps for that matter. So you can try an online sitemap creator called Bluemap. Just visit www.bluemaps.com, and an online wireframe creator called Mockflow. Just visit www.mockflow.com. Both of the sitemap katong sitemap and kaning wireframe nato are created using these applications, Bluemaps and Mockflow. Right? So regarding with how the website is gonna look, preparing a wireframe, it would be totally up to you. Again, it would be totally up to you. For now, there are no standard on how the website is going to look like because it will depend on the developer. However, later on, we're going to talk about what are the different parts of a website, or what are the different parts that makes a good website. And that is in designing stage. Diba? Since you've already prepared your sitemap and your mock-up or the wireframe, now given that it has already been approved by the client, this time you're going to create a design of the website. So in this stage, the website's actual elements will be created. This includes the logo, images, banners, videos, colors, and overall website layout, and other visual elements. The main goal in this stage is to visualize the content by representing the information of the website. Okay, so here is an example of basically katatong gigumagay na nga atong makso. So here are some of the elements that build up a well-organized and effective website. Okay, so let's break it down and let's try to understand the common parts of a website. Common part that makes a good website, rather. So the first thing that we're going to make sure na naata is the brand name or the logo. Now, if logo is not available, then you can just write in the brand name, right? And we have here the navigation bar or the navigation menu bar or the navigation bar. So basically, it usually contains the links, the major links inside a website, and then an optional search bar. So not all websites have this, but it would be nice if you can add search bar for your website. That means the user can easily search for any web content inside your website. And these brand name, navigation bar, search bar are all belong to the header. In our case, we included it in our header. This is of the website. And the next is we have the banner. The banner usually contains the following: the headline or subheadline. Now, the headline could be either the name of the company or whatever it is that you want to write as the title of the website. And then the headline or subheadline, in our case, we use the slogan. Itong slogan na, which is our pride, our hope, our future. Diba? Our headline is Welcome to Negros Oriental State University. Subheadline is Our pride, our hope, our future. And next is we have call to action. So what are call to action? So for example, earlier this semester, butang nato, August, diba? It was scheduled sa atong enrollment, right? Enrollment na tong August. So our atong university is focused more on the enrollment process, diba? So since the university is focused more on the enrollment process, then we can write the call of action is a link that will lead to the users how to enroll, diba? Since mo natong focus. So let's just say the call to action is a link that enables users to go into an activity or a page that will give them information what is the company is offering in real time. So for example, if a couple months ago or as August nag-enrollment na ta, so okay, you can either write this link and learn more, and then if you click na ko ni link, mo dito siya of page that will instruct how to enroll in NORSU Bais. So that is call to action. And then highlighted content. So again, since it was about enrollment, then we're going to inform here that enrollment is ongoing, and then click this link to learn more about enrollment. So that is highlighted content. So most of the time, highlighted content and call to action they work together, or related rather. And then we have featured content. So when we say featured content, since this is a home page, the home page usually is summary siya sa mga contents for the entire website. So the featured content would be a collection of whatever it is that we will see for the entire website. Okay, in our case, we're including course modules, student profile, etc. Okay, and then another thing that makes a good homepage is, or a website is, post or feed content. When you say post or feed content, these are the content, web content that will allow viewers to interact with the website. So pwede sila nga mo comment, mo share, so on and so forth. Or it could be either kanang mga post ba, kanang mo post ang NORSU Bais, dili mo display. And then of course lastly we have the footer. The footer usually includes forms, social media links, and copyright information. So the footer usually contains social media links, copyright information, forms. So social media links, if naa man gani media links ang ato ang organization ng imong giga mga website, and then copyright information, for example, all rights reserved 2021, so on and so forth. So although these are not all the parts of website that every web developer should, dili lang kani ang mga parts of website. There are tons more parts of website that you can add. However, these are the common. These are the common, and perhaps as a developer or as a designer, these are the website, visual elements or web elements that we're going to include in our website. Another thing to be taken care of in designing phase is observing the website responsiveness. It is important to plan how the website is going to adapt to different screen sizes and resolutions. Let us compare Facebook's appearance in different sizes and orientations. So notice how the same web page is able to adapt to desktop, phone, tablet, neatly, diba? So notice how Facebook looks different on a desktop, looks different on a tablet, and it certainly looks different on a mobile device. Bante mo na? Same website, pero lahat siya itsura. Kabante mo? Maybe not so, but most of the websites that we're using will adapt to different sizes and resolutions. So that is called a responsive website. So one of the earliest mistakes in making or designing a website is focusing on a single screen orientation. Diba kita mostly ang mga site yun is if gagamit ka desktop, sa desktop rin mo po siya i-design. Hindi mo siya i-design sa laan niya mga mga device. So our goal as a designer is we're going to make sure that our website will display properly in all the possible devices or in all devices possible. Okay, so that is called web responsiveness, and we'll talk more about web responsiveness in our future meeting. Now, next is content writing. Putting the very essence of audience communication to writing is arguably the most important tool in helping achieve the goals of a website. Content is the reason why people visit your website. So, content, this space is necessary mainly for the website. Okay, there are professional content developers who can write industry-specific and relevant content for the site. So, content writers need to add their text in such a way as to utilize the design template. The grammatical and spelling check should be over in this space. The type of content should be anything from simple text to video. So in this page, content writing is one of the phases or stages in web development. Medyo oftentimes natong look over because we are focused on the designing, focus kita sa pag-design sa website. What kabalo nga atong gipang input di ay mga content nga atong gi-include is no longer relevant to the website. So one of the most important things in web development is making sure that the content that we're going to include in our website would be very relevant to the goals that we are trying to achieve. But anyway, that's why some companies will hire separate content creators, mga writers na they do not rely on the developers because most of the time developers are not really good content creators, diba? So anyway, however, since we are designing our page on our own, we have to be very careful. We have to be very, dapat strategic to sa the content that we are going to include. That consists of the title that we're going to, title natin ibutang, the fonts that we'll be using, so on and so forth. Because after all, the content is the reason why people visit your website. Now, anybody will visit on your website not for anything. That is to visit your kung sa manggani naa sa inyuhang. Kung gusto nila makuha nila nga information sa inyong website. So that is content writing. Again, we're not going to do it very in-depth since this is going to be an overview remark. So, let's focus more on the planning phase. And we'll talk more about it in a few moments. So phase 5 is coding. In this stage, all the previous stages of information gathering, planning, and designing will be translated into actual working pages. So the most common way of coding the website is through the use of markup languages and client-side scripts. There are three major concepts in coding. We have structuring, formatting, and adding interactivity. Okay, so phase 5, diba? The first one is you're going to research. Second, you're going to plan. using using Sitemap and Wireframe, and then phase 3, you're going to prepare a design on how the website is going to look, and then phase 4, you're going to prepare the content. In phase 5, you're going to translate everything that you've come up with, the first to fourth phases, into actual coding. That means you're going to write it in HTML, you're going to format it in CSS, you're going to add interaction and add interactivity using JavaScript. And that leads us to the 3 major concepts in coding. We have structuring, formatting, and adding interactivity. So when we are designing our website, this would be the 3 things that we are going to do. The first is we're going to structure the website. So structuring the website is writing the basic elements that make up the website. So this is using hypertext markup language, or HTML. HTML is a standard markup language for web pages. So when we say structuring, diba, if we're going to build a house, okay, diba, ang structuring is creating the foundation. Kung pinakaunang itong buhaton is to create the foundation, diba, mga haligi, the structure of the house. So it will not dili siya aesthetic, dili siya nimbitanawon, but it makes the website, or it makes the house, diba, strong, and everything will be added on it, so that everything that will be added on it will be para ligon siya, dili siya maguba dayon. So that is the same concept will be applied in developing a website, in designing a website. We are going to structure our website first. That means we're just going to put in all the necessary HTML tags that is needed for our website. Dili pa nato siya designan, we are just going to put everything that we need to add. Pero ibutang ron nato tanan nga kinahanglan using HTML. Alright? So again, if we're going to compare that into building a house, we are still adding the foundation and the structure of the house. The next step is formatting. Formatting is a coding process that allows the control of how the HTML tag will look once it's rendered by the web browser. Cascading style sheets, or CSS, is the most notably used language for formatting. So since itong structuring yung i-add nato tanan using HTML, now sa formatting, we are going to design those HTML tags. Ato siyang designan, we are going to control how those HTML is going to look like. So in other words, atong designan sa formatting, diri nato i-design ang atong pages, atong mga web page rather. So if we're going to compare that into building a house, diri ta ni add og bumbong, gawang, bintana, atop, dipintalan ang balay, so on and so forth. So that's the same concept. We are adding the design, we are adding the format to the structure of our website. And then next is adding interactivity. To make sure the website is more interactive, JavaScripts are used to dynamically modify HTML and CSS behavior. This includes adding animations or generating data without page reloading, etc. The main goal of using JavaScript is to enhance the user experience of the website. So adding interactivity is not necessarily required in designing a website, but adding interactivity using JavaScript are just there to make sure that the user experience will be exciting, to add excitement or adding dynamics to our website para dili boring ang atong website. So kubantay mo, for example, nakita ka post sa Facebook nga ganahan kang react, siguro nag-goal ka, so ni react ka o katong sad something, unsa way buhaton na to para mo react ta, di ba, kay sa tap like man na automatic, di ba? Anyone? Unsa buhaton na to para pitang ganahan nga mo react og lain nga emotion like sad. Okay. So ilang press natin kita nga itong animation, di ba? Just like this. I'm not sure if makita niyo. Hindi nyo makita, right? So ilang press na to, makita itong animation. So, pwede mong good nga, pag i-click na ito, drop down ra, no? Drop down ra, i-click na ito ng react, drop down ra, select ra tag sad, word nga sad. But why is it nga dapat na adyo graphics, na adyo animation? Why do you think that is? To get the user's attention, di ba? Para exciting siya gamiton sa mga users. So, basically, adding interactivity, this stage is just for about para making is just making our website a little more exciting. Dili siya boring kaayo. So, although this is not a required thing to do in developing a website, but most of the time we'll have to learn JavaScript so that we ato mga trabaho is really boring. Diba? So, if we're going to compare that into our atong kangain ng building a house, so the concept of adding interactivity in a website can be compared to adding appliances and amenities that makes a house home, right? So basically, wala siya og mga butang na to compare siya sa paggama og balay, these are the things that will make our, experience leaving the house more memorable. Diba? For example, ganahan na TV, diba? Pwede man ang balay walay TV, diba? Pwede man nga walay kortina. Pero if we're going to have those things, our experience in the house is much more enjoyable. Diba? Same thing with adding interactivity or JavaScript. That's the same concept. If we're going to add those in our website, it just gives a little more, it just gives a little more excitement to our website. So that is the process that we're going to follow in coding. First is we're going to structure using HTML, and then we're going to format or design using CSS, and we're going to add interactivity using JavaScript. Okay, so expect that in this course, we're going to learn these languages, or the scripts rather. We have HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So we'll try to focus on HTML, CSS, and if we still have enough time, we're going to learn JavaScript. So that is phase 5 coding. So however, so this is the reality. Aside from coding, using frameworks and content management systems, or CMS, are the current trends in web designing, especially for websites that require constant updates. Frameworks are made up of structures of files and folders of standardized codes. This may be a collection of HTML, CSS, JavaScript, etc. Content management systems, or CMS, however, are computer software that allow management for the creation and modification of the web content. Right? So, kinsa yung mga kita ani nga mga websites before? Or ani nga mga applications before? Like jQuery, Bootstrap, Laravel. Ha? Wix.com, WordPress, Drupal. Okay. So, for frameworks, we have jQuery, Bootstrap, Laravel, CodeIgniter. Hi, ma'am. Sige, ma'am. Nari-printer ko rin, ma'am. Sige, ma'am. Naipapila ko kung tiba yan. Prepared. Alright. So, again, for framework, when we say framework, these are just, mura ba, decode na daan ba? Libraries of coded materials. Like, say, for example, and all you need to do is you're just going to call it so that you can apply it on your website. So, for example, Bootstrap, I often use that, Bootstrap. So, Bootstrap is collection siya of mga CSS, JavaScript, and then if ganahan kong akong website is mulok siya of something or a certain way, I'm just going to select, mura ba templates ba? Naray template ang Bootstrap, I'm just going to select those templates, and then you're just going to copy the code, and then apply it on the website. And then it will going to look similar to what the Bootstrap template. Mura ba yan ba? And then for content management systems, these are the websites that will allow us to create websites. Diba? So for example, siguro pinakasikat ani is WordPress. We have Wix.com, Drupal, Joomla. So these are the websites that will allow us to create websites. But instead of using codes, we can just do it drag and drop, kumbaga. Diba? So that's the reason why that even though dili IT or comsci can still create websites. Diba? Using CMS. Kita to naka-experience with CMS before, really? Or any in like Wix or okay. You gamit sa senior high school? Right, so Wix.com is these are example of content management systems. It is an easier approach in creating websites, diba? That's why I started this lesson in telling you that why is it that we have to hard code diba? If naamday sa'yo yung pamaagi. Okay? So, maybe to answer that thoroughly, diba? Ang anong, sir, kana na itong buhato, magama sa website, quick na lang, diba, WordPress. That's, learning these is advantage is because this is the new trend naman. Sa gasa kong apply, trabaho ka online, web developer, you're not really developing it, you're just using CMS. You're just using WordPress or CMS to create the website. However, hard coding gives us an advantage compared to other people, diba? Again, anybody can design these websites, but not everybody can do hard code. So that's the reason why we're going to study this lesson using hard coding. It's because that is to give us an edge as IT or ComSci. So if dito lisod nyo paagi, we should learn how the hard ways work. And then if we have enough time, you're going to learn CMS. Anyway, you can always learn CMS on your own. Tutorial ka sa YouTube, mag-try lang ka, you can create it yourself. Right? So again, coding is not just about coding, hard coding, like HTML, CSS, JavaScript. You can also use frameworks and content management systems in this file. Alright, and then we have here testing, reviewing, and launching. Once the website design and coding is complete, it is important to carefully test the functionality, security, interface, compatibility, and navigation, as well as the accuracy and authenticity of the content. Tadhana kayo. Once everything is sure to work according to plan, it's time to upload it to the server through hosting services. It is important to choose the right hosting company that offers the exact services your website needs. Okay, so for example, from phase 1 to phase 5, you are done. Mana, your website is working properly, there are no errors on it, and it's good to go. So the next thing that you're going to do is to host it. So when you say host it, you're going to deploy it in the World Wide Web. Para ma-access na siya sa public. So you're going to upload it to the World Wide Web. So how are we going to upload your website over the World Wide Web? So there are hosting services. There are a lot of hosting services around the globe that you can buy. Paliton lang nimo ang domain. You can upload, imong i-upload imong website dito sa ilahang server, and then you just have to pay for them, and then your website will be deployed in the World Wide Web. Tagaan siya ganyan pangulong na IP address. Okay. However, we have to be very careful which hosting services we are going to buy, atong bayran, atong paliton, atong that is because if you can remember, we have web stack. Kinsa maka-remember what are web stacks? Anybody who can remember unsa lang gitong web stack yan eh? Anybody? Ano ba ito? Huh? Go ahead. Okay, what is the purpose? It's okay. What is the purpose of a web? Okay. Web stack, diba? If you can remember in our previous lesson, any computer can be a server, diba? Yeah. Any computer can be a server. We just have to install the necessary application that it needs para mahimo siyang server, diba? So web stack, that includes the operating system, the programming language, the web server, and the database server. So, ug naa nang upat, okay, so if naa ng upat, then mahimo siyang server, diba? That's what we've learned last semester, last lesson. Now, the reason why you have to know what is the web stack your hosting services is using is because, for example, imong website, gi-create mo siya using PHP. Okay, so you have to look for hosting services that uses PHP as on their web stack, in their programming language. Okay, di ba? Okay, what if gama ka PHP niya, ang ilang gi-support sa imong web stack, imong gibayran na ba din nimo, gipalit na nimo. Kuan di ay kanang ASPDI nga programming language. Wala din sila support of PHP. So sayang imong bayad, di ba? So to make sure that your website will function well, and of course dili masayang imong nagasto, Then you'll have to make sure to choose the appropriate hosting services that offers the same services that your website needs. So for the database, make sure that they're using MySQL, so on and so forth. And then as for the testing, okay, next is maintenance ready. So that is testing, reviewing, and launching. The next step and the last step is maintenance. Hold on. Okay. A well-reviewed and tested website does not always mean the website development is already done. Consistent evaluation is important to make sure that the website will serve its purpose in the long run. So it doesn't mean na humana ka sa mong website, na-develop na siya, na-upload na siya sa World Wide Web, humana ka. No, it's not. There are some things that you're going to do to make sure that the website will continue to run in the long run. Magamit siya in the long run. So here are some of the steps in maintaining a website. First is content update. Consider archiving outdated content and make room for newer ones. This will keep the viewers interested. Okay? So to keep the viewers interested, we should always update the content. Di kay katong content 3 years ago na pagyapon sa imong website. You know? As much as possible, if there anything that needs to be, any happening inside for the company or the organization, then you're going to update the content of the website right away. That is to keep our viewers interested with our website. So, for example, ni-visit sila na yung website last month, same ragyapon ilang nakita atod karon. So, they're no longer expecting for any changes soon. So, we cannot expect them to view our website again next time, diba? So, again, the first step in maintaining your website is content update. Second is redesign. Design is constant. I'm sorry, sayop ni siyang sentence. Ang pasabot na ko ani is design is always changing. So, dynamic dapat. Dili constant. Okay. Every now and then, a new design trend will be introduced. It's important to always check out the latest design trend. So, if dapat i-redesign na to ang website, sige, depending on the newest trend available. So, that's why ang Facebook nagkausog-usog. Ang Instagram nag-usog-usog ang historia. Ang YouTube nag-usog-usog. That is because part of the maintenance of a website is redesigning. We have to always check out the latest design trends. So if you can remember last sem sa ato ang graphics and visual computing subject, we talked about the design trends as part of the research. Okay? So sa unang panahon, uso kayo itong mga 3D, uso kayo mga fire, mga glow, karon mga flat designs na lang. Okay? And maybe it will change a couple years from now. Alright? And then lastly is to optimize the website. So optimizing the website optimizes the website's SEO, or search engine optimization. This will boost the website's rank in search engines, letting more people visit your website. So first, what is SEO, or search engine optimization? So, kabantay mo, whenever we are searching for something, let's say your teacher asks you to search for HTML. Usually, unsa may pinakauna nga mo display sa pag-searching with Google? Anyone? Unsa nga website ang una mo display usually whenever you're searching for anything? Anyone? That's right. So, most of the time, ang mo display Wikipedia. So that is because Wikipedia has very high SEO, or search engine optimization. So search engine optimization allows your website to be ranked higher, diba? It's about ranking your website so that whenever mo search ta, so for example Google, which Google is a search engine, diba? So pag i-search nato siya, una siyang display. So the higher the SEO, the higher chance nga mauna ka sa, higher ang imong rank sa search engine, therefore mas mauna ka makita sa website sa Google search. Alright? So that is SEO. Now, for the SEO, or SEO is a whole new discussion. Nako kay siyang discussion, but we're not going to be talking about it because we're not really going to host our website for now. Siguro by the end of the sem, maka-try ta host ang website, but for now, we're not going to focus on that. But just to give you an idea, the SEO, or will allow your website to be displayed in Google search far more often than the others. Right? So I guess that's it. Do you have any questions? Sure. Alright. Gananta ko mo question pero sakit na ako tutunlan, so we'll skip it on our next lesson na lang. So anyway, for your assignment, for your assessment, please go ahead and follow the link on your screen right now, or I'm going to send it to you later on after sa akong class. Nabog ko yung class siguro after ano. So I'm going to send it to you guys, and then please fill it out. The deadline would be Tuesday, October 12, 2021 at 1 p.m. That is just before we are going to conduct our classes. And then for your assignment, I'm going to upload it on our Google Classroom. The deadline will be Tuesday, October 12, 11:59, 12 p.m. Let me just show it to you para makapangutan na mo it na mo yung malibkan. Here is going to be your assignment. So this is assignment number 4. So we're going to simulate the web development lifecycle. So you're going to act the web development lifecycle. So in this activity, you are going to develop a website where you are going to be the client and the web developer. Okay, so basically, ikaw ang client, ikaw po ang developer now. So as the client, the first thing that you're going to do is you have the freedom to specify and provide the output of all necessary data needed for the web development. So ikaw bahala, what is the purpose of the website? What are the goals to achieve? Who are the target audiences? So this would be, you're going to write a short description of the project based on the following. Okay, so basically, that is on the research stage. Now, as a web developer, you are going to deliver the output required by the client. You are going to simulate the web development lifecycle from research to, instead of designing, dili na lang ni designing sa planning sa takoto para dili na kayo sa. So, refer to the format below. So, stage 1, research. You're going to write a short description of the project based on the following. First, what is the purpose of the website? What are the goals to achieve? Who are the target audiences? So you have to think, right now, you have to think for a website. Okay, and what is this for? And what are the goals to achieve? And second, prepare the following. You're going to prepare the sitemap. So you're going, the sitemap, i-determine mo pila ka web page ang mo include and how they are going to be connected. And then second, wireframe. So same thing ang ipakita niyo kay na katong blueprint sa website, you're going to prepare those. Now, don't worry, bahalag dili kayo nito sa aon. You just have to show us, you just have to show me how prepared you are when creating or developing a website. Ano lang. It doesn't have to be very good, so what you can do. And then compile your, go ahead, Sibo. Okay, pwede. Ay, dili lang, butang rin label lang. Katong gibuhat kayo na wala ko explain, i-label lang niyo. For example, kana na logo diha. Let me show you my example again. Anyway, I'm going to upload this so you can refer to the PowerPoint presentation. I'll show you later on. Let me show it to you na lang. Real quick. Alright, diba sa sitemap? So you just have to prepare for example, the website and the major links, and then the web content. And then for wireframe, lang, labels lang. Lang. Okay, make sure to label. For example, kani logo, kani dire, so on and so forth. Since we are not adding pictures on it, if na yung mga picture, inyo lang i-label kung saan nga picture. Okay? Nag-get ka? Nag-get ka, guys? Please let me know if may mga problems so I can help you right away. Hindi po nga inform mo nga, sir, nag-lisod ko, kanana pong deadline na po, sura po na ron. Okay? So, yung nurse, thanks for naman. Okay? So, you can either, if maglisod mo, sulat rin yung papel, basta klaro lang ang picture ninyo, or you can use any word processing software or photo editing software, or you can use Blue Map for Sitemap and Mockload for Wireframe. Also use any online sitemap and Wireframe creator for website or app. Deadline is Tuesday, October 12, 2021 at 4 p.m. Do you have any questions regarding this assignment? Let's end now. Sakit na kayo kung tutunlan. Hold on. Kung ang ginagawa basig sunod, pwede ito mag-klase ka mo tanan, section A and B. Right, let's lalo na next para ito ka class. It's okay. Alright, so that will be the end for today. Thank you so much for attending, guys. Can you please turn on your cameras before we end? Again, if you have any questions regarding our lesson today, please go ahead and send in your questions. They are also on group chat. And I'll group chat. Okay, so let's wait for everybody else. Go ahead. Okay, assignment, okay ra. Mahalag late ang assignment, no problem. Sa assessment, we're no longer open the assessment. Okay? So, assessment, wala ba siya? Deadline is second. Pero sa assignment, I'll give you a chance, mahalag late, wala problema. Because most of the time, mas lisod man good ang assignment compared to assessment. So most of the time, the assignment will take more time. Anyway, everyone's ready. 3, 2, 1. Okay. Alright, thank you so much, guys, and I'll see you in our next lesson.